My name is Lily. I live with Emily, who I consider to be like a real sister to me now. My parents passed away in an accident when I was starting high school. Since then, I've been living with my brother Owen. To be honest, I've always disliked Owen. When we were kids, he used to bully me a lot. He'd pull my hair, mess up my things, and even break my favorite toys. He'd laugh at me when I cried, and violence was just a normal thing with him. I had to put up with his mean comments all the time. I've hated Owen since I was little, and if he ever needed my help in the future, I'd probably say no. Owen is a selfish person. He always thinks he's the best and hates losing. He's the kind of person who would hurt others to get what he wants. After our parents died, an uncle offered to take us in, but Owen didn't want to go. I wasn't sure about leaving our home to live with a relative I barely knew, but Owen and I thought we could handle things on our own. Living alone was hard, but we managed. However, Owen and I stopped talking. He started going out at night and hanging out with rough people, which made me dislike him even more. A few years after Owen finished college and got a job, he suddenly brought home a girlfriend named Emily. She's really beautiful and elegant. I couldn't understand why someone as lovely as Emily would want to date someone as awful as Owen. I didn't think they were a good match. But I didn't say anything because it wasn't my place to judge. Emily said she was going to move in with us. I wondered if it was too sudden and if Emily was really okay with it. I had to ask her, "I'm fine with it, but are you sure you're okay, Emily?" We had a little disagreement with my dad. But my mom said it's an experience, and if her dad thinks it's reasonable, and they've all agreed, then I have nothing more to say. And so, a beautiful woman named Emily moved into our home. After living with her for a few months, I realized she's an amazing person. She took over all the household chores that I had been doing. At that time, I had graduated high school, but hadn't gone to college. I had no ambitions and was used to doing housework. Above all, I didn't have the confidence to do housework while going to university. But Emily encouraged me to find my passion, saying it's never too late. Ever since my parents passed away, my life had been a cycle of chores in school. I'd wake up, make breakfast, do laundry, go to school, and then come straight home to clean and make dinner. I didn't have time for friends or part-time jobs. I was living like a mom during what should have been an exciting time in high school. I didn't even have a boyfriend, not that I was interested, until Emily pointed it out. I hadn't realized I had no hobbies or passions. Looking back at my high school life, I felt a bit lonely. I remember talking with friends in middle school about wanting to get part-time jobs and boyfriends in high school. I decided to reconsider my future. I thought I'd start with a part-time job, but I didn't want to leave all the housework to Emily, so I helped her whenever I could. One day it struck me, is Emily actually amazing? I was pretty confident in my cooking skills, since I've been doing it ever since we lost our parents. I also often looked at books. Initially, I thought Emily, with her elegant demeanor, wouldn't have much experience with housework. I was wrong. Emily was perfect at cleaning, laundry, and especially cooking. Her cooking was so good she could be a pro. It made me wonder again why she was with Owen, who has such a terrible personality. I started to admire Emily. I thought of her as a real sister. She said she felt the same way about me. We even started going out for meals and hanging out. But Owen didn't seem to like that Emily and I were getting along so well. Years later, Owen found himself at the center of a major incident. One day, after several years had passed, I got a call. By this time, I had already moved out and was living on my own. The call was from Owen. For some reason, he was furious and yelled over the phone, "What are you doing on the day of the ceremony? You better not miss it." I responded, "What ceremony? I haven't received an invitation." Owen sounded puzzled and said, "Huh." But I decided to tell him the truth. Why Owen thought he could get married after doing what he did was beyond me. Let's rewind to the time when Emily started living with us. After Emily moved in, the bullying had mostly stopped. But there was a day when Owen became physically violent toward me. It started because Owen was angry at Emily. Owen would take the lunchbox to work that Emily prepared for him. But one day Emily overslept and couldn't make his lunch. Owen was furious about it. To me, it seemed like a minor issue. When Owen got home that day, I talked to him about the morning incident. Why get so mad at her for a missed lunch? Nobody's perfect. People oversleep sometimes, I said. I didn't mean anything deep by it, but Owen didn't like what I said and suddenly became enraged. A woman who's going to be my wife should be perfect at everything. It's your fault for being around and influencing her, he said. According to him, my presence was a bad influence on Emily. Of course, I argued back. I used to cry a lot as a kid, but now I speak my mind. We got into a heated argument, and suddenly Owen shoved me. Then he started kicking me. Just then, Emily returned from shopping and intervened. She was angry at Owen, but Owen didn't calm down. And then I saw something unbelievable. Owen slapped Emily. He then left the house and disappeared. I was left stunned and couldn't move for a while. Emily was also frozen, holding her slapped cheek, snapping back to reality. I approached Emily and asked, "Emily, are you okay?" She replied, "I'm fine," but tears were spilling from her eyes. She said sorry and retreated to her room. From that day on, Owen became increasingly aggressive toward Emily. One day, I decided to talk to Emily. I was worried because she was losing her usual brightness. Thinking a change of scenery might help, I took her outside, and she ended up confiding in me. She was unsure whether to go through with marrying Owen. I immediately said she should break it off, and that there was someone better out there for her. Emily seemed a bit surprised. Talking to me seemed to lift her spirits a bit. On the way home, I said to Emily, "I'll always be on your side, Emily." Emily cracked a small, somewhat sad smile. One day, I overheard Emily arguing with Owen, which was unusual for her. Curious, I asked what was going on. Turns out, Owen had gone ahead and set a wedding date without consulting her. No wonder Emily was upset, but what shocked me even more was this. Don't set a wedding date without even having a family meeting first. Apparently, Owen hadn't even met with Emily's parents yet. This was just beyond rude, and I was shocked he hadn't even taken this basic step. I immediately suggested that we go meet Em's parents. Owen told me to mind my own business, but this was no time for that. Emily quickly explained the situation to her parents, and they both went to visit them. Her face looked both exhausted and tired, which worried me. That day, only Owen returned home. I had a hunch about what happened and sent Emily a text. After a while, she replied, and we met up at a nearby cafe to discuss what had transpired. Long story short, her parents had objected to the marriage. I continued listening to the story, thinking that it must be so. I listened as she explained that Owen had set the wedding day without meeting them and had been treating her poorly recently, so they couldn't allow their daughter to marry him. Yet, Owen had already informed his workplace about the wedding date and even booked the venue, so he was in a tight spot now. I felt embarrassed for him. Emily's parents obviously didn't have a good impression of Owen. For the time being, Emily decided to stay at her parents' home to think things over. She said she wanted to think alone for a while. Owen objected, of course, but he was persuaded by her parents and returned home alone. I asked Emily if I could meet her parents. She was puzzled but agreed. Since I insisted, later I met with Emily's parents and apologized for Owen's rudeness. They were quite surprised, not just by the apology, but that someone as considerate as me could be related to Owen. I then shared everything about Owen, about Emily, and about how Owen had been treating her. I asked Emily again, "Do you still want to marry Owen?" Emily responded, "I'm not sure." I suggested she should have a serious talk with Owen. She agreed, but when she tried to contact him to talk, Owen wasn't interested in discussing anything. Worse, he was still moving forward with the wedding plans. He even sent Emily a list asking her to prepare the invitations. At this point, Emily had had enough and finally decided to break up with Owen. She tried multiple times to discuss the matter with Owen, but it seemed like they could never have a real conversation. Every time she reached out, Owen would dominate the conversation and end it abruptly. She even texted him about breaking up, But Owen dismissed it, saying, "Enough with the jokes. Just prepare for the wedding." So the day Owen unilaterally decided would be their wedding day arrived, and Emily contacted me in a fury. I couldn't help but marvel at how well Owen had planned the wedding without giving it much thought. I gave him a piece of my mind. "You never took your conversations with Emily seriously, and honestly, I can't fathom why you think you can get married. No one's coming to this wedding. Plus, you quit your job without telling anyone. You've lost all credibility with that." I hung up the phone. That's right. Owen had quit his job without telling anyone. Emily found out about this during an incident, and Owen had contacted her as well. Emily and I were together at the time, expecting his call. I thought I would definitely get a call. "What's going on? Why aren't you coming? Why isn't anyone coming? I've told you multiple times that I want to break up. You never listened. You even went ahead and planned a wedding. So I thought you might as well go ahead with it." Emily finally told Owen everything. She hadn't sent out invitations because she didn't want to get married. But he had told people at work about the date, so she contacted them to cancel the wedding to avoid causing them any inconvenience. That's when she first heard that Owen had quit his job. She intended to talk to Owen again. But given his usual attitude, she decided to let it go, saying goodbye and hung up. After hanging up, Emily looked relieved and refreshed. She apologized to me, but I was more than satisfied with the outcome. In the end, Owen had brought this upon himself. He never took his relationship with Emily seriously and made all the decisions on his own. If he had taken the time to have a serious conversation with Emily, things might have turned out differently, but that's neither here nor there now. Emily has been worried about living alone. I had anticipated this and had already decided to move out and live on my own. I had even finalized the lease and just needed to move later. After moving, Emily and I continued to be as close as best friends. I told her I would miss her as if she were my sister, but she assured me there was no need to part ways. Since then, we've gone out for meals, hung out, and even traveled together. I spend my days working part-time, trying to find what I really wanted to do. Emily, being the incredibly capable and thoughtful person she is, also started a part-time job where I worked. Emily is the whole package: beautiful, talented, and incredibly considerate. She quickly became popular at work. One day, Emily mentioned she might be getting stalked by someone. Given how amazing she is, it wasn't surprising. Worried, I decided to accompany her home whenever possible. Then, one day, it happened. Emily was attacked on her way home. I couldn't be with her that day because I was sick. I thought the stalker had given up, but it turns out they were just waiting for Emily to be alone. She was almost dragged into an alley, but a passerby happened to rescue her. Emily was surprised to see the person attacking her. It turned out to be my older brother, Owen. Owen was arrested. I heard about it the next day. During police questioning, Owen admitted he had been stalking Emily, waiting for an opportunity. He acted because I wasn't there to protect her. Hearing this broke my heart. As much as I despised Owen, I never thought someone from our own family would commit a crime. Emily was shocked, of course, but I was even more devastated. I apologized to Emily and her parents and thanked the person who saved her. Emily's parents were very kind to me. "If you don't mind, would you like to live with me?" Emily suggested. But I decided to move out for now and return to my parents' house. It was empty now that Owen was arrested, but I couldn't bear to leave a house filled with memories of my parents and childhood. Emily suggested we could live there together. After some thought, I accepted her offer. So here we are, living together in my old home. Today, we're visiting my parents' graves. Emily came with me. In front of my parents' tombstones, I silently apologized for Owen's crime and my failure to stop him, all because I couldn't stand him.